Okay, so this is what I'd be checking out for if I showed up to a property and started doing a walkthrough to make sure that the house is ready to be cleaned. So my house is not ready to be cleaned, and so it's the perfect example to point some things out that you would need to look out for if you were showing up onto a property, and it's something good to maybe include in a message a few days before to the homeowner so they can get it prepared for you, or at least do some simple things to make your life a ton easier. So this is what we got. So off the bat, I'm gonna come up and look at this. I know this is my chemical box, so it's got a gap in there, which means that it's gonna be letting water in. It looks like we got a little bit of oxidation or some sort of weird smudging that may or may not come up with a house wash mix, so you could let the homeowner know about that. Ooh, there's a grill out, so that's not good. You don't want to get a bunch of water just on a grill, especially a pellet grill, because it'll get into the wood chips and cause some issues for the homeowner. Earlier, I noticed this. This gap is a little bit bigger than what I'd really want. It seems like it's sealed, but I would put some tape over that just in case, you know. Okay. On the deck, there is a lot of potted plants, which is something that all of this would need to get cleaned, because when you do a house wash, it's not such a big deal for regular in-ground plants, but potted plants, there's not as much area for the water to go, and it's harder to dilute. So you don't want to get any bleach on potted plants. It's a big problem. Okay, so for this, I have little tiny trash bags, and probably what I'd do is I'd wrap it around and just kind of tape it off a little bit. You should cover up things, but as long as you don't spray super hard, you kind of get it wet indirectly. It's not that big of a deal, so that shouldn't be too much of a concern. Something else that I do, I'll put a little piece of tape over the locks, and also take note if these are oxidized or not, because sometimes, like if you have like the black painted ones, like the glossy ones, I've been on the hot side. I've soaped the house, and then as soon as I was done, they were foggy and hazy, and I felt super bad. The customer was very understanding and said, hey, don't worry about it. We're getting ready to replace the locks anyway. So that is what it is. Looking up there, might be a little bit hard to tell, but we have a wasp nest, as well as some, some damage that you would just want to take note of. Make sure that you get a picture of. Okay, a little bit of chipped paint that we're noticing, probably taking a picture of. Oh yeah, now we get a nice angle of the railing. So I usually do a railing refresh on my house washes. So if you can, looking down underneath, it's really easy to tell what exactly needs to get cleaned. Gonna go ahead and take a look up under here. That's pretty dirty. Some of that'll come off, some of it won't. Okay. Nothing too major to be concerned here. That wire isn't connected to anything, but I know that that's a ground wire, because like green is ground, right? I mean, I would even feel comfortable going up and touching this. It's not live, so it's just a ground wire, which it should probably be connected to something, but I don't really know. All right, moving on. All right, all these plants, you'd be pre-watering these before you start washing. Let's take a look back. So that area right there is going to be hard to hit. Let me see if I can put this coffee down. That area right there is going to be hard to hit. This fascia up here And that part right there is going to be a trick. Not that bad, but that's the only challenge spot that I know, because I've watched a couple of these. I've watched a couple houses, and when you go around and you start to get an idea on things, you'll know what's going to be hard for you and what isn't. Okay, we're going to take a look over here for this gas. Make sure everything looks up to code. I mean, it looks good to me. Most everything on this house is pretty good, but it's important to do an inspection. All right, so for this right here, what I do is mostly just be careful around it, and either get a bag and put it over and then do a little bit of tape off, or maybe just tape across right here and then peel it off afterwards. I think I'd actually probably tape across like that. Keep water out of that, because, you know, I mean, it's already gotten water in it before, you can tell, and there's like mud and stuff in there, so it's, I don't know, it's probably not even powered, honestly, so I don't know. But you can start a fire if you get bleach water in outlets, so it's something you want to be careful for. Okay, right there, we're just going to take a look at the dryer vents a little bit and hang out, see if there's any birds flying in and out that you need to pay attention to. All right, so something that's specific on my parents' house that I haven't seen before, we have outlets for Christmas lights, and they go to a switch inside of the house. So that is a little bit of a concern for when you're coming in to do a house wash, you know what I mean? Because you're going to be putting a decent amount of water into those soffits. So, you know, in a perfect world, you'd get up there with a ladder and unplug them. I'm not doing a house wash today, so I'm not going to do that. All right, now we're going to get up to the front door. Now again, depending on the type of doorknob, you may consider taping it off and not getting it wet at all. But at the least, tape over the locks. For these like kind of chromy things, as long as they don't look too old and worn and that like the shiny part isn't worn off, bleach doesn't do anything to this. It's totally fine. This is a composite door, which is great. I love people who have composite doors. Please get more composite doors, because bleach doesn't do anything at all to this. It comes out wonderful every single time. Got another wasp nest. But for normal wood doors, and a lot of painted doors, especially if you have a dark painted door on the hot side of the house, you need to tape it off. You need to tape it off 100%. What I do is I get 2 black trash bags or 1 black trash bag, and I use painter's tape. A little bit of duct tape at the top, so I'll put the trash bag, boom, and I'll cut the sides, and then you peel it down, and then I just use painter's tape and cover both sides, and then I leave like a little gap down here, because, you know, water's not really getting there, you're not really getting spots in the door. And then you can soap everything without fear of leaving spots on the customer's front door. And so now we're taking a look up here. Looks like we got some shotgun spores, or maybe a vine or something, or there's a chance that those little black spots won't be removed. I don't normally tell the customer, ooh, we got a wasp nest up in there. That's definitely not getting removed because it's too close to the light bulb. Just to pay attention. Looks like we got another plug over there, but it's closed up already. Oh, there's a window that's open. So that would need to get shut. Looks like there's another Christmas light plug over there. Kind of hard to tell from this angle, but I can see it. And then lastly, the garage door's open. So yeah, those are some things that I would pay attention to and probably tape off if I was coming to do a house wash on my parents' house today. I think this is pretty useful for somebody who is just getting into the business and is feeling a little bit nervous about potentially damaging somebody's property. Maybe you don't have insurance, maybe you do, but just some things to pay attention to.